Advanced Club, which I believe is a breakfast club, if I'm not mistaken.
Not at all. No. We meet
Okay.
the third Saturday of every month, and now we meet Thursday evenings because we found a cool pub that will let us stay there for the cost of nachos and
ELTs. Yeah. So she's quite busy with Toastmasters, and when she's not involved with Toastmasters activities, she works with the government of Saskatchewan in the corporate services branch of the Ministry of Agriculture, where she oversees human resources and finances for an assigned portfolio. 9 years ago, though, she was unemployed and found herself asking, what now? What next? At that time, she said her options seemed bleak, but it was a plate of pancakes at a church that changed her life. Had it not been for the pancakes, Lynnette would not have her dream job today. Today, Lynnette is going to tell us about her journey and how she learned that the experiences people gain from volunteer organizations, in this case Toastmasters, can transfer into not just getting a job, but building a career. So please help me welcome Lynnette Zotzman for a workshop, Toastmasters Can Help My Career. Lynnette.
Thank you. Yay. I would love to meet that person you just talked about because she seems awesome. Welcome, Toastmasters. Yes, 9 years ago, I was unemployed, and it wasn't pretty. It was after 8.5 years, I got called into the back room with a person from HR, a brown envelope, and a cardboard box. That right there is the fodder for an award-winning speech. I'm going to have to write that down later. And my job had been restructured. It's okay, Lynnette. You'll find something else. You're great. And I really felt like turning around and just saying, who are you, Tony the Tiger? This isn't great. I'm 45 years old. Who's going to want me? I have had the same job for 8.5 years, working in payroll and benefits for a health region. That's all I know. I'd already had a degree in psychology and sociology, but people just look down on that as if to say, would you like fries with that? Not realizing that I worked really hard to get a double degree. It's an advanced degree that has the statistical analysis behind it. And yet, I even looked at that as worthless. Getting that brown envelope takes everything out of you. What was I to do? I did what any self-respecting 45-year-old woman would do, and I went home and cried. And I looked over to the side, and for whatever reason, I happened to see my daughter's application to university. She had just graduated high school. And I thought, she's so lucky she gets to go back to school, and then there's me, a loser. But wait, why can't I go back to school? University was the one place I always loved. And that was also a great place where I could hide away and not have to face the real world. After all, who's going to go looking for you when you're hiding behind a bunch of books? You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to socialize. You sure as heck don't have time to make new friends. And you can just wallow in your depression for the next 2 or 3 years. How great that sounds. as Karen mentioned, that was 9 years ago in 2013. Today, I have all this. Okay, may not look like much, and yes, I like cats, but it's my dream job. Who would have thought that a person who is sitting behind books with no self-esteem, with the self-worth greater than or less than the gum on the bottom of her shoe, could one day have a job that she loves? Today, I'm going to share that experience, and hopefully you may pass this information on to somebody who might be the same as I was at that time. Toastmasters at work. Yes, Toastmasters does work. But not just Toastmasters, there's many other volunteer organizations where you can get skills that are transferable in the workforce. Toastmasters is a great model, a great pattern of all the skills that you can learn and the leadership opportunities and the leadership skills you can gain. I apologize. I did neglect to go through the land acknowledgement. It is something I do working for the government of Saskatchewan. It has become a part of me. So allow me. We acknowledge and respect. First of all, I am hosting this from Treaty 4 territory. And being here, we acknowledge and respect and have the honor of working on this Treaty 4 territory that was first negotiated and entered into in 1874 in Fort Qu'Appelle, Saskatchewan. It's important to recognize that the land that we are gathered on, that I am gathered on, is the traditional lands of the Cree, Ojibwe, Nakota, Dakota, Lakota, and home of Métis Nation. We're respecting and honoring these treaties and that were made on all territories, whether it be in Saskatchewan or Alberta. And we acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and are committed to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous nations in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Thank you for allowing me that opportunity. Now back to my story. I was in a position where I had no job, and because I had no experience, and no experience because I had no job. The only experience I had was working in payroll and benefits. And to me, that wasn't enough. The jobs out there required much more than was being offered to me with the little experience that I felt I had. Throughout this, we're going to learn how these transferable skills in Toastmasters is going to allow this cycle to come together so that people with no experience will gain experience to have the jobs. And my PowerPoint is not moving forward. There we go. This is my journey. 2004 or 2014. I was an unemployed student afraid of failure. I think we've all had that feeling. And 2022, I have a dream job and I feel like I'm a competent leader. Yes, it was 2014 when I decided to go back to the University of Regina in my pit of depression and despair to hide away. Also, some people know that when you get really depressed, you do silly things like maybe take off to Vegas with your husband for Christmas just because you wake up Christmas morning and feel like doing it. Or maybe you go out and buy yourself a brand new car. Let's just say if I would have known that I was going to get to go to Vegas and get a brand new car, I probably would have lost my job years before. But with that also came my introduction to Toastmasters. It was a Sunday morning around Easter time because it was, we were getting prepared for Pancake Tuesday. So at church on Sunday, what do? We find the opportunity to eat because any calories that you get in the basement of a church don't count. It's in the Bible. Look it up. You can eat as many pancakes as you want and not get fat. I tried. This man here sat down beside me with his plate of pancakes. I didn't want anybody sitting beside me. This man is Everett Ritson. He has been a Toastmaster since 1964. Yes, before I was born. Yeah, truly. Everett sat down. I put my head down and I tried shoving more pancakes in my mouth so I could get away because I didn't want to talk to anybody. What are you going to do with your life, Lynnette? He says. Well, I don't know. I'm going to school. You can't stay at school forever. You're going to have to get a job. No, I really just want to eat my pancakes and run away. Honestly, Everett, I don't know what I want to do. I just want to get through school. Then he slaps down a business card, bang, on the table, and says, I'm the past district director for Toastmasters International. Be at Knoxmet United Church this Tuesday at 7:10, not 7:11 or 7:12. The meeting starts at 7:10. You be there. And I quivered inside and almost peed. But I did what any self-respecting woman would do, and I just kept shoving pancakes in my mouth. Now, I knew Tuesday was going to come, and I also knew that the following Sunday was going to come. And if I did not go to Toastmasters Tuesday night, Everett was going to find me in church again. So I went. And I don't know why, but I almost expected to see a room full of middle-aged men that looked like maybe John Diefenbaker with a stogie hanging out of their mouth, smoking in the corner. And I don't know why I had that vision. But when I got there, I was quite surprised because there was people like you, normal people. Nobody in a three-piece suit with a little chain pocket watch around them. So I went, and that first night I was really scared to say anything. Remember, I'd left my self-esteem, self-respect, and self-worth at a job that fired my butt a year before. That was 2014. That was also the year that I earned my first, that I was on the Dean's Honors List the first time. You know why? Because so many people said, you're 45 years old. You'll never get through university. And if you do, you'll barely make it through. So I politely, behind my back, may have put a certain finger up when they weren't looking. And I thought, I'm going to show you. And that helped motivate me. And that was my first of 3 Dean's Honors List awards for having an average of 83.75. That one. That was also that same time I started getting more involved in Toastmasters. And this is the very first picture that was taken with me back in 2014. I won the Best Evaluator ribbon that night at the Wascana Club. And David Keane was the Toastmaster there that night. And he later became a very strong mentor to me. And I look at myself in that picture and I don't see the little person cowering behind books anymore. I already see my confidence growing. I guess this is 2014 and 2015, because at that same time, my transferable skills that I was learning at Toastmasters were growing. Networking was a big one. Many of you may know Don Rosen. He was a longtime Toastmaster for Division B. And he said, Lynnette, come to an area conference or area meeting, whatever. And no, it was Division B Day, Division B Day. There's going to be Toastmasters from all over Saskatchewan. And he's telling somebody with social anxiety that I'm going to meet a bunch of Toastmasters from all across Saskatchewan. But I knew I had to push myself out of that bubble. So I went. And I met a lady named Faye Andrusiak. And I don't know if any of you know Faye, but she's a lovely lady. She's really nice. She doesn't hurt people. She doesn't eat babies or kill little puppies. She's a really nice person. But she intimidated the heck out of me to the point that I was so nervous, I put my fingers up into my sleeve of my jacket and I started digging my fingernails into my skin because I was so nervous. I'm not even kidding when I'm telling you that I had that bad of social anxiety. I also started practicing table topics. And when people were giving me feedback, I was learning it's not about me. These people are trying to help me. And for 45 years, when people would give me feedback, it was in such a negative way that I always thought it was on me. You aren't doing this right. Oh, you could do better. Is that what you did? Remarks like that. Instead of, Lynnette, here's a way I can help you. Eye contact, etc. We all know those. We're in an advanced club. We know what it was like to get the icebreaker. Eye contact, stage presence, and try not to say I transferred that into starting to go to job fairs, because if I could go to Division B Day, I could go to a job fair and I could meet somebody and say, hi, I'm Lynnette, I'm looking for a job and here's my skills. I had to do presentations at school to get my degree. I did mock interviews with people so that I could practice my interviewing skills. These people were Toastmasters and they were helping me. And I enhanced my skills by applying feedback that people were giving me. That was a first for me. Oh, yes, 2015, I got a degree. Holy cow. And look down there, it says with distinction. So all those people who said, you can't do that, I got distinction, you sons of biscuit boxes. That same year, I started competing. I got involved in the BLT club. I became an executive member. I was the vice president of public relations for Wascana. I had responsibility and people trusted me. And I went to another Division B Day and met the snowbirds. Something I never would have done in 2013. I was growing. The transferable skills is obviously the confidence building. My interpersonal communication was growing because I was able to talk to other Toastmasters and not almost chop my arm off doing it. Started motivating others. I had somebody come up to me at a Wascana meeting. She came in the door and she was kind of shaking. And I introduced myself. And she said, I'm sorry, I don't think I should be here. I don't like people to scare me. I'm like, oh my gosh, you've met the right person. I sat her beside me and I started learning about myself through others. I helped create a new club. I got involved in leadership. But in my work life, I rebuilt my resume with these new skills in them. And I was interviewing. I even built a business plan to start a local pub. And it might have happened if the place didn't, the roof caved in over Christmas. Good thing I didn't do it. 2016 rolls around and I got a job. Yes, somebody thought I was worthy enough for a cubicle. They gave me a temporary job in the Ministry of Agriculture. It was doing administration work, but it was a job. It was paying the bills. I went to preacher school. I started preaching in the United Church of Canada. Yes, me, who couldn't speak to Faye Andrusiak before. And I started competing. I was growing. I was becoming more organized. I was speech writing, time management, and I was running meetings. Look at the parallel between what I was doing at work, deadline driven, professional meetings, writing sermons, proofing briefing notes. I think there's a correlation. 2016, still working for the government of Saskatchewan, but I got a job in policy branch. I just want to go back to this for a moment in the policy branch. I was told after this interview that it was the best, I was the best interviewee that this boss had ever interviewed. Why? I think because of Toastmasters. And again, I became president of Wascana that same year. These are the skills I gained. Oh, I'm sorry, I guess I was public relations that year. These are the skills I gained, and look how I transferred them into work using the visual identity, innovative changes, planning, mentoring. I joined a committee and I met more people, and I was able to meet strict deadlines. 2017, the calendar rolled over, and look at this, I'm no longer in a cubicle. I got another job. This job that I'm in now. I applied for the term position, and actually I almost didn't get it because somebody thought that the interviewers thought that somebody had fed me the questions ahead of time because they said I interviewed so well and my answers were so specific. It wasn't until somebody gave me a reference and said, no, she wouldn't do that. But that almost cost me a job, believe it or not. However, that's how much my skills had improved. I got to the division level at Contest, and I earned the President of the Year award that year for Division B. Here are the skills that I learned in Toastmasters, and here's how I transferred them into work. This meeting, branch planning events virtually. Now this was in 2017. When 2020 came around and we all went virtual, I already was waving the flag when it came to virtual meetings. The calendar turns over again, and I got a window office. I became a permanent employee, and this is my dream job. This is my view every day when I come to work. I see this out through my windows. And my coworkers bring me treats. And that same year, I earned the Area Director of the Year award for Division B. Again, here's the parallel between Toastmasters and how they transferred into my work. Again, this is for Area Director. The big thing I learned, when people go, what do you learn as Area Director? What was your biggest takeaway? Number one, delegation and how to say no. It's something I was not able to do before. And now when I'm at work, I know how to delegate. Yes, that is my path so far. Don't know what 2022 is going to lead to. I do know that I will be writing an exam to gain my professional designation in human resource management in November. I'm also teaching an HR class on Sundays on Zoom for people from all across Canada. And I'm still in a job that I love. That is my story thus far. But how can we turn that into your story? Here's my opinion and my experience on how to transfer the skills from Toastmasters into work. Look at all these skills. My gosh, how many of you have had any one of these roles? Raise your hand. You have transferable skills. I often ask people, or I should say asked, because I recently found the answer. I said, I have my Toastmaster experience. I have my work experience. How do I bring that together? I know I can transfer it on a resume, but when I'm not looking for jobs, what do I do? And somebody told me, and it was just recently, treat my office like it's my own business and use these skills as if I was the president of Lynnette Inc. at work. What a great idea. So I'm president of Lynnette Inc. now. Here's some member skills. When you are a member, you have to pick a path. And it doesn't matter which path you pick, you're going to gain some skills that are going to be transferable into a job. Dynamic leadership. You're negotiating, change management, you could get negotiation skills, change management skills. And you can go on and on. We're all advanced Toastmasters. I don't have to go through all these with you. So let's look at this generic manager job. This company is seeking an innovative and highly motivated individual with super problem-solving, analytical, and interpersonal skills. Using your leadership skills, attention to detail, innovation, and management expertise, you will create and support a culture of accountability and continuous improvement. These words I highlighted because they came out of some of the roles, the executive roles that we have, that we just passed a few minutes ago. And we're going to get back into that in just a moment. Now, I'm not going to go into all these because I have an exercise coming up here. Here are all of the paths. And in each of these paths, as I mentioned, are some skills. Dynamic leadership is the conflict resolution, change management, and negotiation. Presentation mastery, managing a difficult audience. Who would have really thought that that would be a skill? When you look at your resume, it's like, okay, you put down, okay, I can type, I know Word, I know Excel. I know how to manage a difficult audience. Sounds impressive. Motivational strategies, understanding emotional intelligence. Those two words, emotional intelligence, are huge in the professional world when you're looking for jobs. And again, these are the practical skills, which I'm sorry, this is a duplicate slide. Now, think of any organization and look at the roles in Toastmasters. The president is the CEO, vice president of education could be the chief operations officer in any other business because they're in charge of programming. Vice president of membership would be a human resource director, marketing director, chief financial officer, director of administration, and property manager. So when you say, well, I'm a sergeant at arms, how could I put that on a resume? Well, look at it as if you're a property manager, and what skills could you gain from that? Here's this slide again, and the reason I'm showing you this is Marvin has, actually, I'm not even going to ask you to put that into the, yeah, maybe if you could, Marvin, if you could put that attachment into the chat and everyone can download it. It has these on it because we have a little exercise we're going to do now. We're going to look at a real job and how you would apply for this job with only your Toastmasters experience. I can't see what's in the chat if a file has gone through or anything because I'm on a secure government computer. So could you let me know when you get this file and then I'll ask you all to open it and take a look at this grid.
Yep, the file has been received through chat.
Okay, thanks. Okay. So I want you to open up that grid, and then we're going to take a look at this job here. Does everybody have it open? everybody who's going to open it. Okay, this job that I have on the screen is a real job. I've only changed the names to protect the identity of the guilty. Sorry, that was a different presentation. This has been changed because it is an actual legitimate job and I can't release any private information, but it is a real job. So we're going to go through this and I'm going to ask you to turn your microphones on and let's pick up some of the skills that you could apply from Toastmasters for this job. Remember, Toastmasters is your only experience, and this is the regional manager position. So it's a management position. The only skills and experience you have are through Toastmasters, and you're going to get this job. So I'll just let you guys read through it. Actually, I'll read it and then we can go through this. Reporting to the Director of Operations. The regional manager will be an integral member of the management team, providing leadership, strategic direction, and management to a team of employees engaged in the delivery of services that promote the growth of this generic industry. The successful candidate will have knowledge of current trends and issues in Alberta or Saskatchewan and in Canada. You will lead the team, you will lead staff in the delivery of client-focused services directed at demonstrated presenting, I apologize for the words there, but you're going to be presenting research findings. Sorry about that. You're going to be leading teams and providing performance appraisals, overseeing the transference of knowledge between different areas, and training of new computer programs. Your previous experience will demonstrate the ability to manage finances and human resources, including coaching and motivating employees from a distance to achieve strategic results. You must be an excellent communicator. You must be strategic and possess superior leadership, communication, and public relations skills. The successful candidate must be a team player, able to both lead and collaborate with a reputation for integrity and a focus on service excellence and innovation in their work. So I'm going to actually take notes of what you guys are coming up with.
Are you wanting us just to brainstorm and just to fire different things? Okay. So one thing I noticed was the treasury, and I can't remember, I can't find it now. Because it talked about money. I thought it managed finances, and I thought treasury would help with that.
Yeah, it would. It would. So the treasurer and finances. Okay. Anybody else? And yeah, this is just brainstorming and have fun. Like this is casual, okay?
Well, you mentioned the club officers roles would help in that for sure.
Sure. Which ones in particular? Can you pick one?
Oh, Vice President of Education and President, my favorite.
But can you find some things in this job ad that would be specific to your experience as a Vice President of Education or President?
Managing.
Thank you.
And
I would
leadership.
say- oh,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Karen?
No, I was just going to say delivery of client-focused services. I think that would draw on the skill set for VP education, because the VP education is it's supposed to be more focused on the individual members and ensuring they get what they need to be able to advance in their programs.
That's valid. What about strategic direction?
Yeah. And coaching.
The president and VP of education, I would think their the skill sets here would be something they could draw on for strategic direction and planning, and even the past president experience.
Now, can you think of something, and there's something very specific, that would be a perfect example of strategic planning?
The club success plan.
Boom. The club success plan. That is a strategic plan. We are here. We need to get here. What's our strategy to get there? That is a perfect example in a job interview for strategic planning.
In past president coaching?
Absolutely, coaching and mentoring, right?
Yeah, you bet.
And any of the club officer roles really could be a coach or a mentor to another member, like taking on that role for the first time.
Yes, absolutely.
Or mentoring just new members to the club and helping them learn the program and that type of thing.
Karen, I'm going to take that one step further here. Think about this person, this role here is a leadership role. They're going to have staff. Think about new employee onboarding. Is that not very similar to our membership onboarding and what you just said about coaching them and mentoring them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
For providing performance appraisals, is there something in any of the roles in Toastmasters that would help us with the providing performance appraisals?
Could that be evaluations and table topics?
There you go.
Evaluation of teachers, yep.
Absolutely. And having one-on-ones with your executive members, if you're a president and you have the one-on-ones with them, and you give them feedback and you can guide them. Really, that's a performance appraisal, right?
Air direct report.
Yes, exactly, Marvin. And training of new computer programs. What do we have that could transfer into that?
Pathways.
Pathways. Exactly. And I think we've all been in a position where we have somebody who maybe they're not really computer savvy. And then we're like, well, here's Pathways. And they're like, I just figured out what Google is. You need to have the patience and the ability to speak to people at different levels of their knowledge base, right? And Pathways, and if you use FreeToast Host or whatever website program you use, this is perfect for that. I like this one, motivating employees from a distance. Is that not perfect for what we're doing now? I know when I was asked to be president of Yorkton, which is about 2 hours outside of Regina, I'd never been on an executive that was where I couldn't just say, hey, Brad, come, let's have coffee at Starbucks and let's talk. Now I had to work with people from my executive over at Yorkton. We have 2 people in Yorkton that's on the executive. one from Drake, Saskatchewan, one from Milborn, one from Endeavour. I'm in Regina, and we have one in Swan River, Manitoba, I believe. So now I've got people from all over the place. We're never going to be in any one room at the same time physically. It is a learning experience to have to do that. That definitely could transfer to this job.
I'm curious, Lynnette, has all of this helped you not kind of micromanage, so to speak, especially when you're not in the same place as your people or as somebody is or whatever?
So here was my challenge. When I decided, okay, I can do this, I said to one executive member, and I said to all of them, to summarize, it was run wild, be free. Here's our strategic goal. This is what you need to do. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. And I said, now go do it. And most of them went and did it. And then one person came back, and this person is an experienced Toastmaster, has been around for about 4 or 5 years, and I assumed that not a problem. She came back to me and she said, Lynnette, I feel uncomfortable because what you asked me to do seems simple, but I've never done it. I'm the kind of person who needs more hands-on direction. And that was a huge learning moment for me. Just because they have been a member for all these years doesn't mean that I can say, okay, go do this and it gets done. Some people need that more one-on-one direction.
Yeah.
And I learned from that. So whereas I wasn't micromanaging everybody, this one person needed more, step-by-step instruction on how to do it. So I wouldn't say it taught me not to micromanage as much because I was never really a micromanager. It taught me that in some cases I need to be more diligent in the support I was giving.
Neat. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
No problem. I like at the bottom, the successful candidate must be a team player, able to both lead and collaborate. So think of the many times we've had to collaborate on different projects. With a reputation for integrity, a focus on service excellence, and innovation in our work. What are the values of Toastmasters? Respect, integrity,
All of the above. Yep.
service, and excellence.
Yep.
So I guess my whole point of this is Toastmasters is offering us so much, and sometimes people don't give it the credibility that it deserves. And all these skills that we're learning, we're not just doing this so that we can say, here at Toastmaster International, here's my dues, and I'm going to show up once a week and not take anything from it. We need to use what we have here. Okay, let's move on. So going right back to the beginning. No job, no experience. Toastmasters is where leaders are made, and we have to remember that. This is my journey. From getting a Best Evaluator Award in 2014 from David Keene to earning the Area Director of the Year Award in 2019. Sorry, it's on my desk here. I went from university that I loved to my dream job that I loved. I say it's because of pancakes, but really underneath that pancake was the Toastmasters. And I can't thank Everett Ritson enough for introducing me to Toastmasters and helping me pave the path to my career. And I certainly hope that we remember the skills that we're learning here and use them for ourselves or help others. When a new member comes to us and says, oh, I don't know, I kind of lost my job, or I want to enhance my career, remember this and tell them how it can help them. Are there any questions? Oh, I couldn't have been that good. There's got to be questions. Trust me.
Yeah,
You
how
were
did you,
that good. No.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Then how did you realize you had to transfer your skills? Like, how did you realize how to transfer your skills? Did someone tell you the skills or they just come across you or?
It's a good question. Let me think about that. How did I find out that I transferred those skills? I know. It was when I was in the policy branch and I was an admin. I was working at the front and people were coming in, and I had won the best speaker award. So I've got it up on my wall here. And somebody asked me, what's Toastmasters? And I said, well, it's a place I go, I talk. And they said, well, there must be more to that. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm getting more confident. And there was one lady there named Terry Bedard, and she had been a Toastmaster for a long time. She happened to come around the corner and she said, well, what do you mean? You're learning all this. It's an educational program. And I was thinking to myself, okay, whatever. And then after that person left, Terry said, how do you think you got this job? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She goes, I interviewed you. I saw you were a Toastmaster and I saw you had these skills. I'm like, really? And she says, yes, you have to give yourself more credit and everything. So then after that, in order to get this job here, I sat down with Terry and I'm like, could you help me? Like, I don't know what I'm getting out of Toastmasters. And she pretty much did what I just did here. And she said, okay, let's go through the job ad. Where did you get this? How did you get that? And it was then that I realized, okay, this program is working. Then I applied for this job. I got the interview. I almost didn't get the job because they thought I was cheating. And figure that, hey? And then I started seeing a correlation. So I can't say there was one specific light bulb moment, but rather it kind of started with that conversation with Terry.
Good,
And
thank you.
now, okay, here's something else. I'm applying for better make sure nobody's around here. I'm at work. I'm applying for a human resource business partner job. And I don't have all the skills for that job out of here. I literally, and I'm not even kidding, Marvin, I took that grid and I'm putting that into my resume. And if any of you go onto LinkedIn, look me up and you'll see a lot of those things from Toastmasters are woven in there very subtly, but they're there.
The charts that you had about the comparisons or whatever, is that on Toastmasters or did you create that
I'll send
yourself?
it to you.
Oh, thanks.
I made that up myself.
Oh, sweet.
The them and me.
Yeah.
Oh, I made that up. That's honestly,
Nice.
no, that is all me.
Nice.
You should copyright it.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I don't know. This is actually one of my favorite presentations to do because I believe it so much. And I am very passionate about it. But honestly, I'm not kidding. I would not be here without Toastmasters. I wouldn't have my really cool pictures of Duran Duran and George Michael above my head every day. Like Toastmasters did that. Are there any other questions?
What path are you in?
Why do you ask me the hard ones? Humorously speaking or something, engaging humor? Because I like doing speaking. I like that over the project-based things. And I need to work on my speaking as opposed to projects. I don't know if any of you know, but I have anxiety disorder. I have social anxiety. I have depression. I have ADHD. And over COVID, I allowed myself to just sit in my basement, work from home, and not have any dealings with anybody in person. It was a gift to those who don't like seeing people. But unfortunately, when they opened the door to the world, I had to then go back out and start engaging with people again. And it was really a struggle. But that's why I have to keep speaking and doing this. Otherwise, I will just get into a vortex and it won't be good. So I have to keep speaking. So that's why I did presentation mastery. I did 2 others. One was innovative planning, and I did the Circle of Gold Plus program. I created that as my innovative planning thing. And then I did another one, I don't remember which one it is. And then I did humorous speaking now because it gives me more opportunity to actually do speaking projects than doing a leadership thing.
So this is your 4th path? Wow.
I think so.
Wow. Yeah, it's good.
Well, I do speaking almost every day, right? Like I did a speech this morning at 12 o'clock for Treasure Chest. Tomorrow's Tuesday, so I'm probably going to get asked to go do a speech at Queen City Toasters because they don't have a lot of members, so they'll often ask me to come do that session. And then tomorrow night is Wascana. Wednesday night is Treasure Chest. Thursday night, I think I have off. So I do a lot of paths. But again, it's because I need to keep speaking in order to grow. Well, if there are no other questions, I should let you guys go do things that you love doing. And I am going to go do something I love doing, and it's called supper. I've heard it's quite the thing. Yeah, you have food in your stomach. Yes. So I'd like to thank all of you for having me tonight, and I would love to come back and do something like this again sometime.
Well, Lynnette, we would love to have you come back, and you had mentioned something about maybe wanting to be a CATS member again. So yeah. You're welcome back anytime, guest or especially as a member. Enjoyed your workshop, and I can completely empathize with the unemployment scenarios. I've gone through a few of them in my life, and the last one really hurt because it was long. But I like how you broke down all of the club officer roles into these identifying the skill sets and that. I know that Toastmasters has, played a role in, improving my work skills, and, I've transferred things, but, the one that's always jumped out most to me was the fact that I could sit through a meeting in a boardroom without writing, spending the entire meeting writing my grocery list in my head and looking out the window, and I could actually pay attention and participate in the meeting, follow the conversation without focusing on, oh, it's going to be my turn to speak next, and what am I going to say? So this is this is great having these things identified like this, and I think it could certainly be a good marketing tool for Toastmasters.
Yes,
but thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing this.
Add something. I actually met Marvin Henry at the Toastmaster convention. What he may not know is when I first met him and other people, my very first convention was in Calgary. There was a convention in Regina when they were called conventions. I didn't go. It was like 6 minutes away from my house. I didn't go because, oh my gosh, there's so many people there that I don't know. The following year, I went to Calgary, and Marvin, what you may not know, I stayed in my room the whole time, except during the contest. I went downstairs and Brad Corbo took me into the contest. And then the following year, I started coming up that's how in my shell I was. But I had a good time, you know, spending in my room all by myself in Calgary at a conference. And now I get to conferences and it's all fun because it's changed. So just thought I'd share that with you. But anyway, thank you all